Well, hey everybody. It is Brian. If Brian has got a Mickey Mouse looking type of plush working its way towards the camera, they probably got a story behind it to get us started. What in the world are you doing, buddy? Besides freezing.
Yeah, I
No.
asked my daughter if they could. Am I frozen?
No, you're good now. Go ahead.
I asked my daughters if they had a Mickey Mouse stuffy I could show everybody because today is Mickey Mouse's birthday. Did you know that?
It is, I believe, 19 something or other, 1905, 1920, Steamboat Willie, 1928, 23,
That's
28.
it. 28. So November 18th, 1928, Steamboat Willie would be 92. Mickey Mouse, 92 years old today.
You know what was driving me nuts today? A lot of news channels here locally, especially, were saying things about that, and they would put Mickey and Minnie are 92 today. Mickey and Minnie Mouse are 92, and I kept wanting to call into the news stations, but that I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, you got
No one likes that guy.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Actually,
Minnie Mouse was first up in 1937 in with Clarabelle Cow, and yeah, you don't want to do that. No one wants to be that guy.
You know what else?
So, man, what I don't know what else today is.
Today is National Vichyssoise Day.
Get out.
It is Vichyssoise Day. Happy Vichyssoise Day.
And I wonder how you spell Vichyssoise. Todd Meininger in the house. He knows how to spell Vichyssoise.
Somebody
know what
Vichyssoise.
I'm assuming it starts with a V as in Victor.
Yes.
V okay.
Is
that's as far as I can go, buddy. So, hey, thanks to everybody for kind of jumping on tonight on this Wednesday night. We are not going to do a show next week. I haven't even told Brian about this yet, but it's Thursday. It's next Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We're not going to have a show. So we got to put our all into this one because we're going to be taking a week off next week. So let's get the old theme song going and we will get rocking and rolling. Well, happy November 18th to you, buddy.
And also with you. It is a very...
that was very Catholic of you. And also with you.
It's a very nice, warm day here in Denver. We're actually a few degrees warmer than you guys are there in Birmingham.
Birmingham's clocking in. We were down to 45 last night. Be down to 42 tonight. The high today was only in the mid 60s. How about you in Denver?
It was uncharacteristically mild, 72 degrees out today.
It's crazy.
Partly sunny, just kind of a nice fall type day. And unfortunately for me, I had to work all day down in the basement. But
yeah,
after this, maybe I'll go up and have a drink in the garden.
Absolutely. You deserve it. Yeah. Brian's got that brand new house, a beautiful evening in Denver. Today is National Vichyssoise Day. Is that even close right there from my smoking hot wife? We don't know.
It is correct. Give her.
Wow.
Do you know what Vichyssoise is?
It's cold soup of some kind.
It's a cold soup. It's made with leeks and onions and potatoes. And
if you said potatoes, look at my buddy Todd. And spelled like Dan Quayle does.
Remember when Dan Quayle spelled potato, and that was enough reason why he wasn't allowed to be the president?
Yeah. Oh, we've come a long way, haven't we?
Woo!
So if you're just joining us, welcome to the best hour of your week. Brian and I are going to talk about some good news happening across the world. We're going to play a game show that you guys can have fun with. We're going to talk about things at Disney because we both work there. And we're going to talk about some bad leadership stuff today. It's just a fun hour. If you're listening in your car on the recorded podcast, awesome. For those of you who are watching live on Facebook or LinkedIn at this time, go ahead and type your comments in. Let us know where you're watching from, and just sit back for an hour. You don't got to watch all the awesome news that's going on. Let's just have some fun around leadership. And Brian, our very first segment that we always start off with is something that we like to call leading off with Brian. I sure hope the music is playing, because one of these days we're not going to start a show with this segment, and we're going to go, well, we're not even sure what to do. Like, I don't, like, how do we? Yeah, it'll be like leading off with Pete. I don't know what that is. So.
It sounds a little. The opening. The music sounds a little like an REM song.
Oh,
Frequency Kenneth.
What's the Frequency Kenneth? Very nice. I believe that is on the album. It's called Walter Cronkite is the name of the album, I believe. Okay. No, I bet you my buddy Todd knows that. He'll let us know. He'll let us know what album. What's the Frequency Kenneth? Monster. Is it on Monster? I don't know. Yeah. Hey, let's get to the stories today, buddy. Get us started.
All right. So today's first story is a kind of a story about overcoming some rules that didn't go in your favor, and making it better for the second generation. We want you to meet Bilqis Abdul Qadir.
Okay.
She dreamed of playing professional basketball ever since she was a little girl growing up, shooting hoops there in Massachusetts. And she became one of the top scoring high school players there in Massachusetts. And she made history as the first woman to wear a hijab in NCAA Division I basketball. She played for Memphis. There she is. She was a Lady Tiger.
Yes.
And when her college career was over, she was about to go pro overseas, but there was an International Basketball Federation rule that forced her to choose between playing basketball and her religious choice to wear the Islamic headscarf.
Yes.
So she went with her faith, and unfortunately her dream of playing professionally ended at that point. But she led the fight to challenge that rule.
I hope so, because most of the time this is a good news segment. So I really thought you were going to stop there, and so therefore she was not allowed to.
The end of
her and her dream ended.
But no, she instead picked up the mantle and decided to challenge the rule that prohibits headgear larger than 5 inches in order to make the game more accessible to players of all kinds of different faiths. So finally, the International Basketball Federation approved a new rule that would in fact allow players to wear headgear that minimizes the risk of injury and is the same color as the team's uniform. So that means that players of many different faiths celebrate that decision, including Jewish players who wear yarmulkes, and
yes,
Sikh players who wear turbans.
Yes.
And so then Bilqis, she is also working to help other Muslim women realize their own hoop dreams. She founded a group called Muslim Girls Hoop 2, which is an initiative for young Muslim women and girls to get into the game that fulfilled her as a young player.
These stories, it's going to tie into our next segment a lot, because we're going to talk a little about discrimination and things people do wrong. You and I working at Disney, we remember, if organizations back in the day had something called the Disney Look, and the whole idea was to make sure that, that the people working at Disney support the show, they don't become the show. Remember that? So it was a whole thing about you can't have facial hair, and you can't have tattoos, and you can't have this, and you can't have nails couldn't be longer than a certain. It was very intense, because they wanted you to enjoy everything around Disney. Well, as we've evolved as society, and things have started changing, there was a time when Disney was trying to figure out, okay, people who wear certain facial hair for religious reasons, or hijabs, or whatever, how do we work? And they've gotten better at that, because they realize, number one, it's the right thing to do, and number two, there's a lot of legal issues around that.
We evolve, right? That's
right. That's what we should do.
As we should.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the Disney look, they used to say you can have, your hair can be any color, but it has to look natural, like it could have actually grown out of your head.
Oh, my word. And so anybody who had light highlights and things like that, it was, yeah. And of course, Brian and I worked in an organization where for the traditions team, when you came in, we were the ones who said, sorry, you can't start work today because of this or because of that or because of this. And so we were the Disney look police on day one. Woo, that was rough. Hey, my buddy Kim Bailey is joining us from Helena, Alabama. Great to have her here. And Todd is questioning he is questioning your coffee consumption this late in the evening.
That, Todd, I'm so glad you brought that up. We talk a lot, and I'm in a very arid environment, so I drink a lot of water throughout the day. I'm one of your hydro homies who just hydrates and drinks lots of water. And I noticed on some of our older episodes that my normal water cup that I have on my desk throughout the day, it's kind of translucent. And so when I would drink, you would see my mouth like like that.
It is true.
And so my lovely wife and I kind of noticed this and decided to go with something a little more opaque. This is just water, but you never know.
I have to be honest, just real quick. I don't think anybody cared for the details of that story, but we appreciate you sharing it. Todd likes to share that I had a body wave. That's a whole different story in high school, how my parents made me get a body wave. And when I say parents, I mean my mom. I got a perm. There's nothing worse than going back to school the next day and girls going to you, did you get a perm? And I'm like, no, it's a body wave. It's not a perm. So we're not going to talk about that. And of course, Todd calling you his hydro homie. Missy's joining us tonight. Thank you, Missy. And Terry sticking up for her man, saying, Pete, stop mocking Brian. I care about his beverage stories.
I do tend to go into some detail, and that is not a picture of my smoking home.
No,
that's a picture of my my lovely firstborn daughter.
About to be a senior, or is senior this year.
Crazy.
Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. Speaking of hair, let's talk about quarantine hair.
All right. So, you know what? There is kind of one of the silver linings, you could say, to this never-ending quarantine is that, months spent at home often means longer hair for a lot of us. Not all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you. The longer hair actually means more wigs for people who need them. So nonprofit hairstylists who make free wigs for cancer patients and people with alopecia or other conditions say that they've actually received a huge increase in donations from people who have now grown their quarantine hair out in the last several months.
Wow.
So, a lot of us are waiting longer between cuts, and that's led to longer donations as well. So that's something.
Who's that?
So yeah, this looks like someone who's getting their hair fitted at one of these nonprofit wig shops.
Well, I hadn't thought about that, but I think you nailed it, because if I'm at home and my hair is growing, especially if I'm a female, it's getting longer and shoulder length and all of that, it's possible, buddy, that I won't go because I don't feel right going to a bar. So when I do get it cut, I got plenty to give. Yeah.
Which is especially exciting for those nonprofits who cater to kids, since a lot of younger girls and teens want longer haired wigs.
Yeah.
And even more men and boys are donating their hair to charity, than they ever have before. Although certainly you and I won't be able to join them. But
no. And again, as my wife, again, at least your wife is nice about it. Mine is just blatantly.
Well,
she likes her man with hair.
You're out there and you're listening, and you're ready to chop off all the hair that you've grown out. A lot of the nonprofits will gladly accept them. So look those up, and
without a doubt, that's a great thing to do.
I know our kids have done that in the past, and they have different requirements in terms of length, and they say it's good to trim up those loose ends before you donate them.
The one we used to use is called Locks of Love.
Right.
That we used in Florida for a while. I'm not sure, but there's I'm sure if you Google hair donation or whatever, you'll find one in your area. It's a great way to give back. Great way to give something back.
And it costs you nothing because you're sitting at home in your sweatpants growing your hair out anyway. So
correct.
Yeah.
Talk to me about an Ironman, buddy.
All right. Well, you and most of our listeners know that completing a triathlon is a Herculean feat.
Buddy, me walking to the mailbox is walking to the end of the street is a Herculean feat.
But you know what the 3 events are, right? There's a like a 2.5 mile swim,
Check.
112-mile bike ride,
Check.
and then a full marathon, a full
Check.
6.2 mile marathon. All of which I could totally do if I wanted to.
Shout out to my buddy, I believe John Fitzgerald, my old Gator buddy, I think runs Ironman triathlons. And I know one person who does it.
Oh, yeah. Two, Kathleen, our good friend.
Yes.
She's been known to do this as well. But today we're going to be talking about somebody named Chris Nikic. Chris did all of these things and completed his first triathlon at 21 years old, and actually became the first person with Down syndrome to complete an Ironman triathlon. There's Chris right there in the middle.
Wow.
He had a guide who helped him, and or I should say went along with him. I don't know how much. I mean, he's not like dragging him along. Chris actually crossed the finish line in under 17 hours, which was the cutoff time to complete the competition. And had a tough time along the way as well. At one point, he fell off his bike. And
you can see, I mean, on this graphic, you can see his knee right there, all bloodied up and everything.
Yep. And what you can't see is that he was also attacked by ants during a stop. Got bit up a little bit, but neither the insects nor bloody knee could stop our friend Chris. And he's got his sights set on the 2022 Special Olympics. But in the meantime, he's going to continue to fundraise for Down syndrome research. And he said, he achieved his goal that he set. Now he wants to help others like him do the same.
Sometimes when you hear stories like this, there was one that went around in church circles a lot because it was part of maybe like a Bible study or something, where a dad had a child who had special needs, but he wanted to do a triathlon. So that, remember, the dad pushed him, he swam with him to his back, and then he put him on the back of his bike and rode with him. And then when he ran, he ran pushing him in like his. Yeah. Did you remember seeing that? I remember it. Yeah,
I remember that they did it together, and
yes,
and in this case, it was he did it himself.
This is just fantastic, and again, it makes me as we tie this back to like leadership lessons. Again, the internal voices in our own heads, buddy, thinking what we can't do and what we can't accomplish, and I'm not good enough, and I can't do this, and I'll never. And when you see what people can do who put their minds to things, makes you kind of refocus on what's going on. Missy talks about KP, who's one of our people who did the Ironman, and there's our buddy Sean has joined us today. Thanks, Sean, man. We're doing good.
Go Gators.
We're doing really good. Go Gators. So thanks, man. Those are three good, heartwarming stories to get us started, to remind us that there is a lot of good things happening in the world, especially, Terry Love. I mean, I love him too. That's why we lead off. We lead off with the good stuff so we can get into the other stuff of where people are kind of acting like idiots.
Jerk.
We call this segment, congratulations, you're an idiot. So, which probably from a leadership point of view is not what we should be saying, but it's good for ratings. It's good for ratings. You have to have like a witty, nutty thing out there to do that. So every now and then, Brian, what we like to do is we like to figure out some management tips that people are doing wrong in the worlds of human resources around discrimination, perhaps harassment, hostile work environment, all of your 1964 Civil Rights Act violations. Yeah. And we take a few minutes and we share some stories with you so that we can say to these managers, congratulations,
you're an idiot.
Okay, I can play. Yeah, I can play that all the time. All right, let's talk about Low Coast Grill and Pub, buddy. They're going to pay only $20,000 to settle a sexual harassment and retaliation lawsuit. Here's the story, my friend, based out of Atlanta. This just in from October of this year. The EEOC suit charged that Low Coast Grill and Pub violated the anti-discrimination laws when a male cook made sexual advances towards a female cook.
Okay.
Okay, so you're like, well, as we define sexual harassment in the workplace, it has to be unwanted behavior, it has to be unwelcome, it also has to be done multiple times, and it has to be egregious. There's all these things that kind of come with it. But according to the complaint, and this is why I want to share this one so you can help me, Brian, the male cook made obscene physical displays to her and indecent propositions. And the female cook reported the sexual harassment to the company, and after receiving her complaints, they never scheduled her again for work. So she complained, and all of a sudden she's not on the schedule, not on the schedule anymore. Violates Title VII. Very nice. Violates Title VII and all that. But this is what gives me the giggles. A lot of times you see these things that say they made obscene gestures, they made obscene remarks. This is a chef who made obscene physical displays.
It reminds me of those nature shows with the birds that do all the. He was doing a display.
I just see them working together. They're cooking, and he's like, "Hey, watch this. What do you get if you take this bowl of grits and place it over here with this vichyssoise?" See what I did there? Can I get a bell for incorporating vichyssoise into there? So again, no bell. Thank you. So again, $20,000 Low Coast Grill and Pub. Brian, what about national origin? We don't get the national origin discrimination very often. This is Blackstone Consulting Company based out of Baltimore. $37,500 they had to pay, plus a lot more. So here's what they did, Brian. They hired a woman from El Salvador.
Okay.
Not to stereotype, but what language do you think she's going to speak?
Oh, it's got to be Laotian.
I believed it might have been German, but this woman from El Salvador spoke Spanish.
Oh.
So she had very limited English speaking skills, and she was hired as a part-time cleaner. You're a part-time cleaner, very limited English speaking skills. And the company interviewed her in Spanish for the job. They trained her in Spanish, so her trainer spoke Spanish as well. And they assigned her to work with a Spanish-speaking supervisor. All the pieces are in place.
Yes.
This is going great.
Done everything
all right?
due to accommodate so far.
Thank you. Well, what happened was she also performed her job satisfactorily. About 2 months later, the environmental services director made a derogatory comment to her about Hispanics and said, quote, "How is it that you do not know how to speak English? In this company, you're not allowed to work here if you don't know how to speak English." So she's been doing everything great for a while. Then this one, maybe I call him an idiot, could be he or she, comes in and says, "Hey, sorry, you got to speak English." And then that director terminated her and told her, "Hey, you can have your job back as long as you," Brian, well, say it. You can have your job back as long as you
speak English.
Okay, so again, by the way, she had 30 days to do it. And she filed a claim, Civil Rights Act violation, 1964, 18-month consent decree. They got to do all this stuff and do all this training and pay her all this money. Way to go. Well done, team.
Well done. Blackstone is not some small, tile company, local. Blackstone is a huge, multi-giant organization.
And that's why we like to share these stories. It just takes one person, buddy. It just takes one. I mean, everything was done right. They interviewed her in Spanish, trained her in Spanish, put her with a Spanish-speaking supervisor. She's a part-time cleaner. And then some jerk comes in and is like, "That's not how we do it around here."
I heard in my earpiece what you meant to say just then.
Yes. Unbelievable. So thank you.
Congratulations You're an idiot.
Congratulations. Seattle, Washington, buddy. Northwest Wireless. Don't know of them, but they're going to pay $175,000 to settle a disability discrimination. So we're covering all the bases today.
Okay.
According to the lawsuit, a sales associate at Northwest Wireless's Spanaway, Washington store had a congenital hearing impairment. Okay. The employee learned that her store manager and other coworkers said, I'm tired of repeating myself to her and that I want to fire her. So she filed an internal discrimination complaint and eventually complained to the CEO of Northwest Wireless and provided written statements from her coworkers corroborating the manager's derisive comments. So did the right thing. Person saying, I'm sick and tired of having to say things 2 times just because you can't hear. So what'd she do right?
She reported it. She documented it. She had
went on up to the CEO, all that stuff. Despite her internal discrimination complaint and her above average sales performance, they fired her without warning a month after her complaint. Such conduct violates the Americans with Disabilities Act, blah, 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 2.5-year consent decree, $175,000 in lost wages, and they've got to do all this training now as well. Congratulations, you are an idiot. Here's the last one, buddy. Oak Ridge Security is going to settle a sex discrimination lawsuit. This one, $375,000. Oh, also in Seattle. Congratulations, Seattle. You got back-to-back stories. Got some work to do. All right. According to the my little censor button went off. According to the EEOC's lawsuit, a supervisor at the Seattle Tunnel Project was terminated shortly after she disclosed her pregnancy and her need to leave for her manager.
Yep.
So, hey, real quick, want to let you know, Brian, I'm pregnant, and in about 6 months, I'm going to need some leave. The good news, buddy, you're protected. You're protected. No problem. Thank you for letting me know. We'll work it out when we get there. The manager then came out and claimed, actually, security work is not proper for a pregnant woman. And the employee attempted multiple times to regain her job, but the company refused. So basically, when she left, they never let her come back. Therefore, the employee filed an EEOC charge alleging discrimination, and the manager retaliated by telling her, you'll never work for this company ever again. Well, surprise, maybe she won't, but you'll pay her $375,000, and you got to implement policies, procedures, and training. You know what they say. So, Brian, what did we learn? What did we learn? What did we learn today?
That, I don't know, a lot of these tend to be, like smaller companies, but the Blackstone one and Northwest Cellular.
These are big organizations.
Right?
Yes.
It just, it's 2020. How do you not, if I'm not an HR guy, right? I'm a training and development guy and a communications marketing guy, but I know you can't do that.
Right. Now, Sean, on the other hand, God bless him, if she takes him to court, do they go to a hearing?
Oh,
mercy. I'm so happy. So, yep. And Sean, we do know today is National Vichy Soir Day. Brian started us out by letting us knowing that. So it's awesome.
Buddy.
Yeah. So again, just all of us as leaders out there, if you don't know what the laws are around sexual discrimination, disability discrimination, national origin discrimination, or sexual harassment and retaliation, it's called the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Look it up and save yourself and your company some money. All right, enough of all this goofy stuff, buddy. Let's play a game. This is everybody's favorite game show, Brian. It is the most popular leadership statistics game show in the history of game shows. It's Over and Under. Let's go, buddy.
All right, so get your chat fingers ready here. We're going to ask you to go ahead and play along with us. Feel free to.
Is this the right graphic?
Congratulations, you're an idiot.
It's the wrong one, isn't it?
Really bad.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. So this is everybody's favorite leadership statistics game show that you like to play along. You'll be able to beat Pete probably. We'll see.
Oh, you froze up. We're going to give you a second to come on back. Are you in your basement tonight?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. And look at what my daughter says. She speaks for most of our viewers when she says, I just watched for this moment. All right, Brian, tell us how it's played.
All right, so I've kept these hidden from Pete, but I'm going to give him a few interesting and timely statistics this week based out of a workplace report. We're kind of diving into this one because it has a lot of really good findings. We covered a little bit of this last week. It's by a company called 15Five, and 15Five. They surveyed 1,500 full-time U.S. managers and independent contributors, ICs, if you will, to understand the struggles that people are facing at work and which practices can help managers become more effective. So,
okay,
today we're going to focus on emotional well-being in and out of the workplace. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it. I need my emotional well-being to be correct. If you're playing along when Brian brings these up, you can write your answers in the comment box. You can also write constructive criticism around anything. Like, for example, Barry hates that we have a bad theme song. So Barry, don't be surprised next week or in 2 weeks if we have a new theme song. That just cut me to the core, and it'll be done. Kind of like this with friends like Todd, Brian. Who needs enemies? He looks like Brian. Sit down. You're gonna. All right. Let's go.
Here we go. All right, so we're going to start off with one that I think might be an easy one, a little bit of a softball here for everybody. What percentage of employees said that they perform better when their company actively supports their emotional wellness? Over or under 80%?
Okay. I know you're not going to answer this, but this is going to be me thinking out loud. And actually, I think out loud at work like this, and it drives my coworkers nuts. What is emotional well-being? Like, if my company, is that as simple as my company provides an EAP program? So does that mean that they care for my emotional well-being, or are we asking people things like, do you have an emotional cry room? Do we have a safe space? Do we have some of these things? So can you answer that for me? What does it mean? You can't. Judging by you drinking a drink, you are not gonna.
They asked, and employee assistance programs comes into what we're going to talk about here in a couple of minutes. But the question was, do you perform better when your company actively supports your emotional wellness?
Okay. And is it over or under 80%?
Over or under 80%?
Okay. All right. Well, Missy is giving us a real number. Missy's saying 85. Gotta love that. She's going with the over. Terry is taking the over. Todd has given us a lower consonant. I feel like he's playing Sean Connery in Jeopardy, where he gives answers that make no sense whatsoever. That's not what your mother said last night, Trebek.
Todd.
Kim is taking the over. Barry's taking the over. Sean's taking the over. Mom's taking the over. And so just because I know how you play, and we got a new person tonight, Allison, thanks for joining us. She also thinks over 80% of the people, and because you said softball, I'm going to go over 82. So going over 80.
Everybody gets the bell today. It is over. The answer is 90%. 90% of employees surveyed say they do perform better when their company actively supports their emotional wellness. Additionally, 94% of managers said they feel that emotional wellness of their direct reports is just as important as their direct reports' job performance.
See, but I've got to, and maybe I'm getting old and cranky and crotchety.
Well, you
And
are.
I know I know I live in the world of HR, but I got to figure out what is emotional. Yes. Listen, I've got direct reports. I want their emotional well-being to be good, but what does that? They're going to perform better when it is better. Yeah. Okay. I'm buying.
Here's my opinion. I think that a year ago, if we were asked this question, we would have to know the answers. What do you mean emotional wellness? But during the pandemic and working
You're right.
from home, I feel like we're all under just a certain amount of stress and uncertainty, and like the whole world's on fire right now, and
Yep.
and I thought it was interesting that 94% of managers said that the emotional wellness of their employees is just as important as their direct reports job performance.
I'm going to throw this out to the audience. If you're working and have jobs, tell me, because I would love an example. Tell me some things that your manager does to support your emotional wellness. As we'll go on to the next question, but is it as simple as just a check-in, Brian? Is it as simple as just asking? Is it because you've got remote workers? And again, we got a lot of managers who aren't trained in this, because we're always told don't ask employees about their personal lives. You don't ask them about that. But now we're saying that needs to be part of it, right? So
what I love about this show, Pete, is that you prepare your stuff, I prepare my stuff. I promise you guys, I don't share these questions with Pete ahead of time. I tell him the overall, like the title basically that's going on this scrolling.
At the bottom.
What do you call that?
If you're old school, you call it a chyron.
That's
the old chyron.
I give him that, but I don't give him the questions. But you just nailed the question. Here we go.
Sorry.
What percentage of managers say that they make it a point to ask about their employees' emotional wellness during the one-on-ones? Over or under 61%?
Give me the exact wording again. Do they make it a priority? Is that what you said?
What percentage of managers said they make it a point to ask about their employees' emotional wellness during one-on-one meetings?
Okay. I'm going to take the under, because number one, I think it's a trick question. But number two, even though you just said 94% of people think that it's important, you're asking how many of them actually do it in their one-on-ones. And I'm going with that falseness of, it's very, very important. Very important. Do you do it? No, I don't. I don't do it at all. So, again, your wife is going with the under as well.
Not my wife.
Well, Kim Bailey works in human resources. So again, she's tracking, we're tracking together. Missy works in human resources. She's taken the under. Sherry's taken the under. Allison's taken the under. And my daughter Madison is going, hang. She's trusting managers are going to give more than 61%. She says is going to ask. So again, this is assuming people have one-on-ones, but in the one-on-one, I'm asking about your emotional well-being. We've got a lot of unders and one over. What do you got?
It's under 41%.
Wow.
20 percentage points under. And I think possibly you hit the nail on the head with, I don't know if I'm supposed to ask my employees about their personal lives.
Right. I mean, it could be because we're not trained for that. My buddy Barry says I check every time with my associates, but he's going to say, he's probably up there. Yeah, which is why Kim said they lied, because you're right. Managers, especially, I think management, I shouldn't say, I don't have a lot to base this on, but I wonder if managers have gotten worse at their jobs since the pandemic, because I finally got good at what I was doing in the office, but now I've got to learn this remote leadership, and I've got to learn pandemic leadership, and I've got to learn change, and I've got to learn all these things. And so this can be a real struggle of what's going on.
Yeah.
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 What do you think about Sean's comment? Yeah, because what if I delve in too much? What if I do ask too much?
The reason I thought this was so meaty of a over under to get into is because we do have a lot of friends and listeners, participants who are human resources professionals. And I assume you would all agree that it is kind of a fine line to walk. We need, especially during this pandemic, to be concerned with and sensitive to our employees' emotional. That employees said overwhelmingly that companies that care about my emotional wellness directly impacts my performance. Like I'll perform better for them. And at the same time, we also just had a bunch of congratulations, you're an idiot. Examples of people getting a little too chummy, a little too familiar. Although most of those were just jerks, but you see what I'm saying? It's kind of a fine line about, how do you check on your employees' emotional well-being without going to that TMI like Sean brought up.
And what do you think about Kim's question? They don't know how to ask, I think. So again, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree, Kim. I think we're all just navigating these uncharted waters together, and we're growing and evolving. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out with the next question.
We have one more? Bring it, my friend.
Here we go. What percentage of employees who have access to employee assistance programs actually take advantage of those services?
3%.
Over or under 55%?
Oh, I mean under, because again, this is, and I don't know if it's a marketing thing or if it's a stigma thing, but every company, Disney had a huge EAP program. When I worked in television, they had an EAP program. In government, we've got an EAP program. We get emails from our EMP from behavioral health. We've got flyers that are on. But the first time I think, first of all, I may not think that I need it. Second of all, I may think to myself, well, if I call, is it really confidential? And what's going to happen? And there's just, there's such great outlets to use, but I think there's still either a stigma or I don't know how to use it. I don't know. So the number again you said was what? 60, 40?
Over or under 55%. Sammy Hagar, 55%.
Oh, dude, you can't drive that.
No.
Sean's taking the under. Sherry's taking the under. Terry's taking the under. These people are very smart like me. Good. Gloria's under. Way under. Todd. Look at Todd. Todd's taking the Gators minus the points.
Yeah.
Under, and again, Kim, way under. Yeah, we're under. Go. Come on, lay it on me.
I think Todd is employing a little bit of game theory here. That I would go the opposite of the conventional thinking, but the answer is under. It's actually 43%, which 43% of employees with EAP access say they actually participate in those benefits.
I'm surprised.
I want to give the bell to my mom, who got all three correct.
Oh, congratulations, Gloria. You will be getting a brand new Leadership and Laughs Franklin Covey monogrammed thing here that we're going to send out.
Hold on.
No?
I'm being told that Franklin Covey isn't a thing anymore.
Do not mock my Franklin planner. Do not.
Everything's digital now, and
do not.
Yeah,
do not make me bust out. Get in there. Look at that, baby. Got A's, B's, C's.
Look at this. Look how
everybody's like, look at this. It's an Outlook.
Yeah. I'm still using Post-it notes over here. I can't tell.
Yeah.
No.
It's all good. Yeah, Sean got 3 for 3.
Well done.
Kim, I don't know what you're shocked about. Shocked that I use a Franklin planner, or shocked that only 43% use EAP.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is kind of a low number.
I think the results of what we've seen here today, if you take all three questions, if you're listening right now, yeah.
Pete's being mocked with his date timer. And by the way, Brian, guess what just came in the mail yesterday? The inserts for 2021, right in there, baby. That's $37 well spent.
I love it. But
Hey, so I'm sorry. Go ahead. Wrap us up with this.
just wrapping it up, I was going to say the results. If you look at all three questions, it's interesting. It kind of shows us that, even though employees and leaders believe that emotional wellness and mental health are important, neither one of them are acting on it in ways that they should be.
Yeah. And that's, as you do these over-unders, buddy, I learned throughout the time that managers are, we all know what we should do. It's never what we should do. It's always, what we are doing. So luckily you and I got our training at Disney, and that's our next segment.
Love a good segue.
Yeah. It'll just be a moment or two until Barry tells us he hates this song as well. So,
oh no, you can't hate this song. It sounds like a Disney daytime parade. What time is the 3 o'clock parade, Pete?
All right, I love that music.
Me too.
I love it, man. It's exciting. It motivates, it inspires, does all kinds of things. All right, here's what we're going to do. Brian and I worked at Disney for 25 years. Plus, we got some of our friends who are still down at Disney. And we like to talk every show in a few minutes about Disney leadership tips, Disney leadership strategies, things like that. Today, we want to talk real quick about two things. Number one, if you're watching in Florida or listening in Florida, we've got a great opportunity for you to give back. Brian, what do you know about an organization called Give Kids the World Village down in Kissimmee, Florida?
So Give Kids the World Village is a not-for-profit charity organization that we used to support a lot through Walt Disney World. We would give time and they would let you do deductions, like paycheck deductions that could go to Give Kids the World. And what they do, basically they have a village. It's really neat village down there that is specifically set up with medical personnel and all kinds of accommodations to host and to let medically and physically challenged children, usually who want to visit Walt Disney World. They partnered with Make-A-Wish, if I believe.
Yep.
And
you are exactly right.
And my mom says, the most awesome place in the world. And if I can just tell a quick story on that, she used to take her. She's a music teacher, a band teacher, and she used to bring her middle schoolers up to Disney to play. And they would sometimes go and play there at Give Kids the World Village.
Yeah, they are not associated with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but all of the kids who want magical Disney dreams and vacations, the place to stay is Give Kids the World Village. Well, and again, one of our old managers, Neil McCord, was a general operating manager at Give Kids the World. Unfortunately, he, like many of our friends, have been sort of furloughed because they can't let kids go down there and stay at Give Kids the World Village because, number one, their immune systems may be compromised, and number two, they don't have the people or the staff because it's a really sad situation. So what they decided to do was create this thing called Night of a Million Lights. And what you can do is you can go, and they have decorated the whole place with lights, and you pay to go and walk around. And it's a great sort of repurposing, if you will, of that. So I've got a short 2-minute video here, buddy, that I want to share with everybody. Make sure the audio works here, and see if I can share this with you.
Okay.
Brian, you give me a thumbs up to make sure you can hear it.
Night of a Million Lights is a spectacular holiday event that's certainly going to lift everybody's spirits. Our village is going to come to life with over 3 million lights.
As we prepare for our opening of Night of a Million Lights, it is just so much fun to watch each night as we keep adding more and more lights. Today for the town hall installation, we had over 6 lifts operating with 18 techs. I think it's just so fascinating to watch them get every light bulb in place to be spectacular for our guests to see. In addition to our 30 full-time techs that are installing these lights, we're leaning on our incredible volunteer base who are doing tons of work installing lights at the ground level. I think our guests are going to be blown away by this 19-foot pixel map Christmas tree that's in front of our brand new Henry Starlight Scoops, which is our new ice cream parlor.
This is a version of what we call the Pixel Pines, which is probably one of the most advanced RGB Christmas trees on market. So technically there are 12,800 pixels on this tree. Each one is individually controllable, and so we can display a lot of really fun content.
Each of the 45 villas are adopted by a treasure partner of Give Kids the World. They're given this opportunity to decorate it however they want. It's going to be truly incredible. In addition to viewing all the holiday lights, guests will have the opportunity to enjoy 3 of our attractions, including our carousel, Lori's Magical Flight, which is a spinner attraction, and Kelly's Sunny Swing.
Give Kids the World's a nonprofit resort that is the destination for children from around the world who are battling a critical illness and want to come experience all the magic that Central Florida has to offer. I think a couple of the most heartwarming things about the holiday season is it's always about a family time and a way of giving back. Here, by supporting Night of a Million Lights, you can do both. You and your family can come out and stroll down and experience the most incredible sights of this whimsical village, all lit up with 3 million lights, but also give back. I hope to see you all out here for Night of a Million Lights at Give Kids the World Village.
And I know that my daughter, who's watching this, she on a spring break trip, Brian, she went down and volunteered with the University of Alabama spring break group and did an alternative spring break. And they went down and volunteered for a huge week at Give Kids the World. And she was talking about the interaction she had with the kids, and she got to be in charge of the carousel for a while and helping them get on and off the carousel. And it's just a great event. So what I wanted to share with you, and I think what our leadership lesson should be tonight, is volunteering and giving back as leaders. I mean, here's an organization that could just say, well, we can't open, we can't do anything, there's no one coming, but they figured out a way to get something happening where they can raise some funds and get people involved and hopefully build their brand and keep them top of mind. What kind of stories do you have around Give Kids the World, or any thoughts about
this? Just our ties to it, and it just warms my heart to see some of those faces and how they they named some of the little attractions there, and after kids who've been there, and we've got a family connection, like I mentioned before, about doing Disney Music Days and getting a chance to play for the kids there, and it's a really neat. I mean, if there's ever, we live in a world that has so much, animosity and political divide and all that. And it's just nice to see something that, who couldn't get behind that? Right. I mean, who would look at that and go, that's not where I'm going to spend my
right. Spend my time, spend my dollars. So again, if you're in the Florida area, I know sometimes I've got people who live in Tampa, Orlando, St. Pete, where I grew up. If you're looking for a great event to go over and give back to the community and help kids with terminal illnesses, looks like it's going on certain nights all the way through January 3rd. And the website is just on the Give Kids the World website. You can see the video there. You can see all the information there. And again, this would not surprise me, Brian. There are so many Disney cast members who have currently lost their jobs, who are furloughed. I would not be surprised to see those same people volunteering at this event, because that's the type of cast members you have down at Disney. So yeah, it's a fantastic event. So maybe just in your neighborhood. So if you can't get involved in this, what can you do, Brian, as a leader around the holiday season, where you can volunteer and give back and do something around Thanksgiving and the holidays that kind of adds value? Because I think it's an unwritten rule, Brian. We don't talk about it enough, but being a servant leader and volunteering and giving back, that's something that should be part of our daily routine as leaders. We shouldn't have to remind people to do that.
And I think most people, have good hearts and are well. I know at my wife's company, I don't know if she's still on, but they have they would allow their employees to take a day and get paid. It was basically a day of volunteering I think what a great leadership example that was. Like,
Right.
you come into work today, but we're going to meet instead at Give Kids the World or whatever the local equivalent is. And, you get paid for the day, but we're going to be volunteering.
We got to take care of others, man, especially this time of the year, and especially with how divided things are. The more we can take care of others, the better. So that's the Daily Disney. Thank you all for kind of listening to that and kind of being involved. And if you want to go to their website, you can donate to Give Kids the World and their event, even if you don't go down to their specific area. So I'm hoping. Last week we had a problem with the outro music, buddy. We're going to try it one more time. We're going to try the outro music as you get ready to give us a what do you call it? A did you know? Huh? Tell me you can hear that.
I can hear it. Well, wanted to thank all of you for joining us here today and being what a good show.
Good show tonight, buddy.
We're going to be off next week, preparing for Thanksgiving and giving thanks. And Pete and I just want to give thanks for all of you who join our silly little show and just make it so much fun for us. And we encourage you to give back, be kind to others, put a little more kindness in the world. And we love each and every one of you.
Absolutely. We want to thank Todd, thank Gloria, Nancy. Let's see, Barry was on tonight. Kim, thanks for joining us. Missy, if I forgot your name, my scrolling has stopped. So Scott, you were on tonight, buddy. Thanks so much. And Todd's right. Give, serve, serve, serve. What a great way to go through life. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll see you back here on Wednesday, December 3rd. Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. See you next time.